As a minister, what I find is that I get given this speech that I'm told to read out. But the member for Lagan Valley reminded me who I was today, and so I'm going to give an impassioned speech. And the first person I'm going to respond to is the minister opposite. And sorry, the shadow. No, she's not actually the shadow minister. The shadow minister in this brief isn't here. The shadow Home Secretary who certainly, whenever he got on the bandwagon, isn't here. The Shadow Justice Secretary. Nope. Okay, so what I am going to say, and the Conservative opposition front bench could have to have the same person summing up and finishing, starting and finishing, is what I'm going to say is that, you know what, I will pay credit for the work that was done by the last Conservative government. I worked with many of the people opposite to do lots of this work. But what happened actually during that time is that loads of brilliant words were written on goat skin, rolled up in the building under here. Really good legislation was passed. We've heard about the Modern Slavery Bill, the Domestic Abuse Act. I remember it when it was just a bill because I worked on it then, not jumping on a bandwagon too late. And what didn't happen was actual fundamental change on the ground. And over the last few weeks, I have had, and first and foremost, actually, just like to say, it's been a little bit like being at my own memorial, being in this debate. And my husband said my house looks like a funeral parlour, just to remind everyone, and to the member who was very pleased to see from Richmond that my gumption hasn't gone away. I am very much not dead. I just wanted to read out something that a child abuse victim sent me over the last few days. This has been turned into a political football. And what she goes on to say, actually, in fact, I think in this instance, sorry, I have had many, this is a man. What he goes on to say is, I am angry at the lack of response. We haven't resourced the police, the courts, victim support, therapies, schools, councils, and I am angry that men, by and large, have turned this into a political football. Do you know what has actually happened is that it's harder for a grooming victim to get a house in this country than it has ever been before, so that she could be moved to a place of safety. We can write into law in the domestic abuse bill that domestic abuse victims have a priority need. I pushed the amendment myself. Cracking. You get priority need on a 7-year-long waiting list. All I can say is that we worked tirelessly with many of the people sat behind me, the member for Pontypridd, the Home Secretary. So the absolute degradation of our justice system in the last 14 years that leaves rape victims, as was mentioned by the Victims Minister, waiting 7 years. And so, but it is action that is needed. We accepted 18 of the recommendations. Cracking. I've accepted, that I'm a size 10. It's not the fact. And of course, I want to get rid of domestic violence and violence against women and girls completely. You've got to calm myself down now for a moment.